In a bustling marketplace of an ancient city, there lived a wealthy merchant named Thomas. He had built his fortune through years of hard work and shrewd business decisions. His trading business was the most successful in the region, but there was one thing that was slowly destroying everything he had built: his uncontrollable temper. Thomas would explode at the smallest inconvenience: a shipment arriving late, a clerk making a minor error, a customer asking too many questions. His anger was swift, brutal, and devastating. Those who worked for him lived in constant fear. Over the years, his best employees had left. His reputation had become toxic. Even his own family had started to distance themselves from him. His wife spoke to him only when necessary. His children avoided coming home. But Thomas didn't see the connection. He blamed everyone else for their incompetence and weakness. One day, a traveling philosopher named Samuel arrived in the city. He was known for his wisdom and unusual teachings. By chance, Thomas met him at the marketplace. Samuel watched Thomas as he screamed at a young boy for dropping a basket of goods. After the boy had fled in tears, Samuel approached Thomas calmly and said, "You have lost something far more valuable than those goods." Thomas, still fuming, snapped, "Who are you? And what business is it of yours?" Samuel replied gently, "I am a traveler who observes people, and I can see that you have lost your peace. That is the greatest loss of all." Something in Samuel's words struck Thomas. Perhaps it was the kindness in his voice, or perhaps Thomas was simply exhausted from his constant rage. He invited Samuel to his home for the evening. That night, as they sat by the fireplace, Thomas found himself telling Samuel everything about his childhood, about how his father had been weak, and Thomas had sworn never to be like him, about how he had confused rage with strength, about how he thought controlling people through fear was the same as controlling situations. Samuel listened without judgment. Then he began to tell a story. "There was once a river," Samuel said, "that was so powerful it could carve through mountains. It was proud of its strength. One day, a small stone fell into the river. The river became furious. 'How dare a tiny stone disturb me?' it raged. The river swelled and overflowed its banks. It flooded the villages around it. It destroyed crops and homes, and all because of one small stone." Samuel paused and looked at Thomas. "Do you know what happened next?" Thomas shook his head. "The river's rage destroyed everything, including itself. It lost its banks. It lost its direction. It became a wasteland of destruction. Meanwhile, the stone remained unmoved." Thomas felt something shift inside him. "What are you saying?" he asked quietly. "I am saying," Samuel replied, "that your anger is like that river. It destroys everything around you, but most importantly, it destroys you. The small stones, the dropped baskets, the late shipments, the minor mistakes, these are not the problem. Your reaction to them is, 'But how can I not react?'" Thomas asked, his voice vulnerable for the first time. "The anger comes so quickly." "I don't even have time to think," Samuel nodded. "This is because you have practiced anger for so long that it has become a reflex. Your mind has learned that rage is the solution to every problem. To change this, you must practice something different." Samuel stood up and walked to the window. "Tell me, Thomas, in your most recent outburst, did your anger solve the problem?" Thomas thought about it. "No," he admitted. "The boy was too scared to work properly after that. It took longer to fix the mess than if I had just asked him calmly." "Exactly," Samuel said. Anger clouds the mind. It prevents clear thinking. The decisions you make in anger are rarely the right ones. But when the mind is calm, solutions become visible. Over the next few days, Samuel taught Thomas a practice. Every time he felt anger rising, Thomas was to pause. He was to notice the feeling in his body, the heat, the tightness, the rush of energy. But instead of letting the anger control his actions, he was to breathe slowly and ask himself 3 questions. First, is this situation truly a threat to my life or just an inconvenience? Second, will my anger actually solve this problem? Third, what would a wise person do right now? At first, Thomas found this almost impossible. His anger was like a fire that wanted to consume everything. But slowly, with practice, he began to notice a gap between the feeling of anger and his response to it. In that gap, there was a choice. One day, a shipment arrived damaged. The old Thomas would have erupted. But this time, he paused. He felt the anger rise in his chest. He breathed. He asked himself the 3 questions. And then, instead of shouting, he calmly assessed the damage, made a plan, and moved forward. His young apprentice, who had been trembling in fear, was shocked. "Sir, aren't you angry?" the boy asked hesitantly. Thomas realized something profound in that moment. He had been so used to expressing his anger that not expressing it felt strange. But more than that, he realized how much pain his anger had caused this young boy and how unnecessary it all was. "No," Thomas said gently. "Getting angry won't repair these goods. Let's figure out how to solve this together." The apprentice's face transformed. For the first time, he looked at Thomas without fear. From that day forward, Thomas's life began to change. Not overnight, but gradually. His employees started to respect him differently, not out of fear, but out of genuine admiration. They began to stay longer at their jobs. They started to care about their work, not because they were terrified, but because they wanted to serve someone who treated them with dignity. His business actually improved. Decisions made with a calm mind were better decisions. His reputation in the marketplace began to recover. Most importantly, his family returned. His wife smiled again. His children started coming home for dinner. His youngest son even began apprenticing in the family business, excited rather than fearful. Weeks later, Thomas asked Samuel, "How did you know that I needed to learn this?" Samuel smiled. "Because I was once like you. I too thought that rage was strength. I too destroyed things in my path. But I learned that true strength is not in the power to destroy. True strength is in the ability to remain calm when everything inside you is screaming to explode." "But the anger still comes," Thomas said. "Even now I feel it sometimes." "Yes," Samuel agreed. "Emotions are like weather. They come and they go. The sky does not apologize for the storm. It simply allows the storm to pass. Eventually, the sun returns. You do not need to eliminate anger. You simply need to stop being controlled by it." Before Samuel left the city, he said to Thomas, "You have learned a valuable lesson. But this lesson is not just for you. Share it with others. Tell them that the greatest enemy we face is not outside us, it is within us. And the greatest victory is not over armies or kingdoms. It is over our own emotions." Thomas did as Samuel advised. He began teaching others in the marketplace. Young people who struggled with their temper. Workers who felt overwhelmed by their emotions. Even his competitors, some of whom had suffered from his rage, came to learn. Years passed. Thomas became known not as the angry merchant, but as the wise merchant, not because he never felt anger again, but because he had learned that feeling an emotion and being controlled by that emotion are two different things. One of his grandchildren asked him once, "Grandfather, how did you become so calm?" Thomas knelt down and said, "I learned that calmness is not the absence of anger. Calmness is the presence of choice. Every day I choose to pause before I react. And in that pause, I find my power. The real lesson: anger is not your enemy. Your reaction to anger is. You cannot prevent emotions from arising. They are a natural part of being human, but you can create space between the emotion and your response. In that space is freedom. In that space is wisdom. In that space is the power to choose who you want to be." The merchant did not become powerful because he stopped feeling anger. He became powerful because he stopped being controlled by it. And so can you. The moment you realize that you have a choice in how you respond, that is the moment your life truly begins to change. Not because you become a different person, but because you finally become the person you were always meant to be. Someone who is strong enough to feel without being overwhelmed, wise enough to pause before reacting, and free enough to choose their own path.